Over to the moderator. You can proceed. Proceed.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah. Unmute yourself.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, now you are audible.
Okay. First of all, a very good morning to one and all present out here. I extend a cordial welcome to our respected principal, sir, esteemed chief guest, HODs of all the department, faculty members, and my fellow friends. I also express a deep gratitude to the chairman, sir, and the director, madam, of Surendra Institute of Engineering and Management, Siliguri. I am Abhinam Baraili of 4th year electrical engineering and also the president of the Green Energy Club, and I am the moderator for today's event. We have gathered here today for the inaugural event of our club, Green Energy. I feel privileged that I am the part of this initiative. As we know that the energy is an important asset for us, whether we like it or not, but our life resolve and depend on different sources of energy. With the increasing demand of the energy, fossil fuels comprises 80% of current global primary energy demand. And the energy system is the source of approximately 2/3 of global CO2 emission, which poses a major environmental problems like global warming. So the green energy, which also means renewable energy, is the vast alternative for the use of fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, gas, etc. Our club Green Energy concentrates in creating awareness regarding the importance and the methods of energy conversion, along with its effective utilization. On behalf of our organizing team, I once again sincerely welcome and thank you all for gracing this occasion. I would also like to give a note of thanks to our distinguished chief guest, Dr. S. Umashankar, for accepting the invitation and gracing the event. Now, I would like to request our Honorable Principal, sir, to start the event with the lighting of the virtual lamp. Over to you, sir.
Stop sharing. I will share the virtual lighting.
So I'm not sharing the screen.
No. Professor Umashankar.
Yes, Professor.
If you stop sharing, I will share the virtual lighting. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Nihal Chatri of 3rd year electrical engineering and also the vice president of Green Energy Club to address the welcome speech. Over to you, Nihal.
Excuse me, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. A very good morning, my dear Dadaji, Chairman sir, VC ma'am, Director ma'am, my dear Principal sir, my dear Chief Guest, my dear teachers, seniors, and my dear friends. Firstly, with the best of gratitudes, I would like to stage a very warm welcome to each and everyone out here present for the inauguration of our very newly formed club, that is the Green Energy Club. So, I would like to begin my speech with a quote. So, which quote should we go through? Should we go with the quote of James Cameron, who once said that the nation that will lead in green energy will be the nation that will lead the world? Or should we go with the quote of Lord Steiner, a top philanthropist, who once said that renewable energy is the clear winner when it comes to boosting the economy and creating the jobs. Green energy is an essential part of our strategy of decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization of energy, which can enhance worldwide development. The chief aim and objective of our club is to highlight and promote all the advantages and merits of green energy and to enhance encouragement for transition from fossil fuels to green energy, which has very less environmental impacts. Making an investment for transition to green energy is like making an investment for our future. As we all know, fossil fuels are exhaustible and limited, while green energy is inexhaustible and unlimited. Once upon a time, a great man said that our greatest success, our greatest achievements, our greatest victories are not a product of our sacrifices, but rather a product of our choices. Today too, we have a choice in front, a choice between fossil fuels and renewable energy, between finite and infinite, between eco-hazard and eco-friendly. This choice is an essential part which can decide our victory or defeat in our fight against menace to our environment, that is climate change. So with this phrase, I would like to end my short speech and I would like to handle my proceedings. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nihal. Now, I would like to sincerely welcome and request our respected Principal Sir, Dr. S. Nagarajan, to say a few words on the auspicious event. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Distinguished Chief Guest, my dear friend, Dr.Umashankar, Associate Professor, Prince Sultan University, Saudi Arabia. First of all, I convey my sincere gratitude to the Chief Guest for accepting our invitation and grace this inaugural session of our Green Energy Club. Respected Chairman Sir, Director Madam, beloved students and my dear staff members, a very good morning to all present over here. On this special occasion, I sit before you with extreme pleasure on behalf of Green Energy Club of Surendra Institute of Engineering and Management, Siliguri, West Bengal. First of all, let me express my deep gratitude to you all for supporting me for past 1 year. With your support, we have implemented a lot of student club activities for the betterment of students. Nowadays, environmental pollution is hotly discussed issue in the social and political scenario of the world. These issues are mere symbols which show us in a mirror what we have done in the past. This is the place where students have to take your responsibility in order to create awareness in the society and be the torch bearers for the forthcoming generation. I think this particular club will give a roadmap for achieving that task. The consumption of fossil fuel is in last few decades has contributed much to the degradation of our environment. And especially, 70 to 75% of the electricity we are getting from the thermal power plant. And 75% from the thermal power plant. So we electrical engineers are more responsible for the environmental pollution because, I tell you the reason regarding the carbon emission, especially carbon emission from the thermal power plant. If you want to generate 1 kilowatt electricity, that is 1 unit of electricity, our thermal plant will generate 0.94 kg of carbon dioxide emission to atmosphere. So we are getting 70 to 75% of the total electricity from thermal power plant. And if you take the electricity data of our country, the total electricity generation is 1,500 terawatt hour, and 1 terawatt hour is equal to 100 crore unit. Just imagine. The cross electricity consumption was 1000 kilowatt hour per capita. That means each person is consuming 1000 kilowatt hour, 1000 unit per year. This is based on the latest data. And each person responsible, if you, one more important data, if you want to generate 1 kilowatt of electricity, the thermal plant will emit, I said, 0.94 kg. For the calculation purpose, let us take 1 kg. So to generate 1 kilowatt electricity, thermal plant will emit 1 kg of carbon. So if you calculate, each person is consuming 1000 kilowatt hours. So it comes around 1000 kg, but we are using only 70% from the thermal power plant. So it comes around 700 kg carbon emission. Because of electricity usage, we are polluting the environment. Each person is responsible for 700 kg of carbon every year. And the trees are very much supportive to consume this carbon emission. And well-matured and grown-up tree can inhale 20 kg of carbon dioxide per year. Therefore, in order to consume the total carbon dioxide emitted from the thermal power plant, and to make the environment perfectly balanced, we need 33 trees per person. But if you look at the total population of our country, it is around 130 crore population. And if you take the tree population, it is around 35 million trees we have. So if you divide it by tree population by our human population, and we will get 28 trees per person. But in order to maintain proper balance, or in order to inhale or consume that carbon dioxide emitted from the power plant, we need 33 trees. But right now we have only 28 trees, so 5 trees shortage. So every person has to plant 5 trees to avoid further pollution or further temperature rise in Earth's surface, because entire country, all over the world, is people are discussing about climate change and temperature rise. The alternate solution to avoid the carbon dioxide emission to the environment, we have to move on from thermal power plant to renewable energy source. So now we have 2 options in front of us. Either we have to plant more tree to maintain perfect balance between the carbon dioxide emission, so that we can avoid further temperature rise in the Earth's surface, or we have to move on from conventional power generation to renewable energy generation. Maybe this particular club will promote and create awareness among the peer groups, not only within the peer groups, it will also spread awareness among the common people, so that we can convey this message to all the people for the importance of planting trees and importance of migrating the power, conventional power to renewable energy. So as we move forward, we will need to focus on becoming even better at what we do and how we do it over the next decade. We will take this challenge very seriously, and we will build on our strong foundation as we emphasize the new themes that our rapidly changing times require. So today is inauguration, but our work together started already. Clubs are the instrument through which one can find their hidden talent. So I request office bearers to regularly conduct various events within the department, and you can also invite participants from other departments. So find out a suitable theme. Accordingly, you can conduct various events in order to promote and create awareness among the peer groups regarding the purpose of green energy. So once again, I wish the office bearers of Green Energy Club to have a wonderful session ahead after your examination, and I extend sincere gratitude to the chief guest of today's function, Dr. Umashankar, for accepting our invitation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. That was indeed motivating and also extremely informative information for us. Now moving on, I would like to invite the respected HOD sir of Electrical Engineering, Mr. Subhadeep Saha, to introduce the chief guest of the day. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Principal Sir, respected Chairman Mr. Sharad Agarwal, respected Director Ma'am Mrs. Snigdha Agarwal. A very good morning, all ladies and gentlemen. Today we have with us eminent faculties as well as students from various parts of India. Myself, Shubhadeep Saha, I am heading the Department of Electrical Engineering of Surendra Institute of Engineering and Management, Siliguri. It's my privilege and honor to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Umashankar Subramaniam, who will be presenting the online international webinar on a sustainable pathway for the global energy transition on the inauguration day of Green Energy Club, Double Development SIEMsiliguri. Dr. Umashankar Subramaniam is an associate professor and distinguished researcher in Renewable Energy Lab, College of Engineering, Prince Sultan University, Saudi Arabia. He co-established the Renewable Energy Lab and working towards the renewable energy and electric vehicles related research and projects as per the 2030 vision of Saudi Arabia and United Nations of SDGs. He is also a part of 2030 International Steering Committee for Global Ranking and Global Distinguished Expert at Global Education Policy Network towards United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. He is a chair, organized many international workshops and reputed conferences like ICSD 121, ICEE S21, PERE A20. He is a senior member in IEEE and IEEE-PS. He is an EXACOM member of IEEE-PS Saudi Arabia section from 2021 and organizing member of IEEE PELSIS 2021. He held various positions like Vice Chair of IEEE Madras section, Chairperson of IEEE Student Activities, and IEEE MAS Young Professionals. He is an associate editor of IEEE Access, Helion Cell Press, AJ Elsevier, and guest editor in Springer Nature, MDPI Energies. He signed MOUs for collaborative industry research projects like Sustainable PSU Campus and Sustainable Microgrid Development at Saudi Arabia with various national and international industries. So in this auspicious occasion, I will not take any other time. So without taking any much time, I would like to request Dr. Umashankar Subramaniam to kindly present the international webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful event organized today by your institution, reputed institution. And this is the need of the hour. And this is going to be one of the important agenda for the entire world after COVID-19, especially. So earlier we were discussing about after Christ and before Christ. So now in our generation, we will talk about before COVID and after COVID. And this is going to be a very important aspect towards our way of living and the transition from the conventional energy to green energy resource and energy efficiency, and as well as the vehicle change from conventional fossil fuel to electric vehicle. So these are the changes which is going to happen in the coming years. And for that, there are a lot of policies already in place. For example, the central government of India, already they have announced the policy towards the electric vehicle, shifting from conventional fossil fuel based vehicle. So if this is the case, so how the world will sustain, okay, after this drastic changes happening for the past 1 year, and what is going to be the next level of focus on the energy scenario, especially when we talk about the generation, transmission, as well as distribution side. So in this case, so as a developing nation, especially for India, so we need a lot of challenges, and we are facing a lot of challenges, and we need to establish more and more infrastructure in the coming years. Otherwise, we cannot sustain as per the global data. So what is the important thing? So the India has to focus, and for the next 5 to 10 years, so that India will sustain towards this energy transition, especially towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. So this is what the agenda for 2030, and which is set by the United Nations. So before going to the topic, so what is the global energy potential as of now? So if you look at it, and it is mostly, we have a majority of coal, that means the thermal, and then next uranium. So that means we have mostly, most of the power plants are nuclear power plants, next to thermal power plants, then oil, then natural gas. So after that, you can see we have renewables. Okay, so but renewables having a less percentage of sharing the global energy potential. But if you look at the available potential, so it's huge. If you take solar, it has 23,000 terawatt, as well as wind, maximum 70 terawatt. Hydro, we have 4 terawatt, biomass 6 terawatt likewise. And as of now, if you look at it, world consumption is around 17.5 terawatt. But the potential itself, if you look at solar and wind, it can tackle the world consumption. So if this is the case, so how we are going to focus on this smooth energy transition from the conventional fossil fuel to green energy based fuels. Okay, so this is what the challenge behind us. And not only that, if you look at it, this energy scenario, so how it changes the jobs, which is going to be affected in 2030. You can look at it, so concentrated solar panel, so it can have a huge opportunity. Then utility PV has a huge opportunity. Then rooftop PV. Then wind, then waste to energy. So the waste to energy is also its own important focus as per the IRENA source. And globally, if you look at it, so how far the status of the wind energy, so you can see that almost all the Western countries have a domination. Apart from that, in our Asian region, so China and India is also having a huge share in this wind energy scenario. But wind energy is not new to India, because you know very well, in India, wind energy started in the year 1990s itself, and there was enough establishments, especially in southern part of India and most of the places, and Gujarat, etc. And we have achieved almost 50 to 60% of the wind energy potential already in the land. And National Institute of Wind Energy, which is one of the Ministry of Energy's division. So they are now focusing on how they can install the wind energy or windmills in the seaside. Okay, so that's what the focus now. And if that is the thing, then we have a very huge potential, okay, in the coming years. So now, if you look at it, so what is the motivation? So the motivation is very simple, because You know the current scenario, what is happening in India, and hot topics and hot news is about the fuel price. Okay, so they are unable to control over the fuel price because of the global demand as well as the local taxes. So if this is the case, so how we can reduce the dependence on the oil economy and focus towards the sustainability is the one important goal. And global impact, if you look at it, so I think for the past 1 year, you might be watching different news all over the world related to climate change, and then glaciers are melting in the Arctic and Antarctic region. Even last week itself, they have found that Antarctic region, there is a huge iceberg which is divided into 2 parts. Okay, and this is the scenario. And if you look at Arctic region, so most of the places are visible now because the glaciers melted. Okay, and if this is the case, so how all the countries is focusing towards how to mitigate this climate change issues. In fact, I'm in Saudi, and last year we faced a very coldest temperature last year, and this year I didn't see even a coldest temperature for the couple of days in the winter time. Okay, especially from November to February, and now immediately the summer started. Okay, so so we are in front of us. We are really and practically seeing what's really happening in the climate. Okay, so and it's not an unknown factor for us. It is known thing, and in front of us everything is happening. Then the next thing is about how we can become energy independent. So that's what the scenario. So all these things put together, if you look at it, so the United Nations, they developed the Sustainable Development Goal, then Paris Climate Agreement, and immediately the Biden government has taken charge. They immediately signed. Okay, US is the only one country so which was out of that Paris climate change. Now, if you look at it, so they are also in. Okay, so that means almost all the countries are focusing towards this climate change issues. And India, if you look at it, so India is also focusing on more towards this climate change scenario. So not only the electric vehicle policy by the Indian government, but also the National Solar Mission, so which the Indian government started long ago, and almost they have achieved many of their action plans, and as well as the outcome. Also, if you look at it, so the government has come forward to replace all the existing petrol and diesel vehicles with the electric vehicle. So the plan is on the way. But do we really achieve this plan? So what will happen is, as Professor, your principal said, so we already have a huge electricity demand. Okay. And if this is the case, so if you change all your petrol and diesel vehicle to electric vehicle, so the demand will be like manifold. Okay, so what will happen in the case if we have more electric vehicle and if we have a less power generation? It's really pathetic, and it is going to be the worst scenario. Okay, so you never see in the millennium. So if this is the case, so you can look at this first one. So still, if you generate the electricity using the fossil fuel, okay, and if you change only the vehicle to electric, so what is the thing? It's nothing. Okay, so there is what is our objective is not met. Okay, our objective is to replace this fossil fuel based power generation to green energy based power generation. So if you look at it, so we need the last one, because we need the power generation also clean, as well as the electric vehicle also clean. Okay, so as to reduce the pollution as well as the emission from the both the generation as well as the electric vehicles. So India is a developing country and population is also huge. So just imagine, so if we replace all our petrol diesel vehicles to electric vehicle, so what will happen? So it's nothing but crores and crores of or millions of vehicles will become electric. So you need a huge electricity, okay, and it will create a huge demand as well. So this is really attempting to change our scenario to a renewable energy scenario or green energy scenario. So the transition to electric vehicle, if you look at it, so it's in 2020, we are in 2021, and you can see that plug-in and battery EVs are having a very, very less percentage. And by 2025, it is going to be reversed because of the policies, government policies. So if this is the scenario, so what is going to happen? Okay, so if this change is happening by 2025, so imagine so how our electricity infrastructure or the grid infrastructure should be in 2025. So it has to withstand all the new demands by the electric vehicles, and we should have the enough electricity to charge this electric vehicle. So this is going to be the very much challenging one, and this should happen very smoothly. That means this transition, and this is very, very important also. Okay. And if you look at it, last July during the COVID-19 lockdown, if you look at it, the central government in Delhi, so they have introduced this first public EV charging plaza. Okay, so that means they have introduced this to the public so that you can come to this plaza and you can charge your electric vehicle. So this is looking like this. Okay, exactly. And this is similar to your petrol charging station or diesel charging station. And if you look at it now, the government is giving priority for the parking the electric vehicles in almost all your shopping malls as well as supermarket, etc., in all the public places. Okay, so this is really motivating towards buying the electric vehicle, not motivating towards shifting the conventional power generation to renewable based power generation, because people don't have exposure. Because if you look at maybe 5 years or 6 years back, the government, every state government has introduced one policy like you can install a 1 kilowatt solar PV based rooftop power plant. But the public, they have not come up. Okay, so because of the lack of exposure, and another thing is that the government, they suggested only the selected vendors, selected companies, and the public, they don't have trust on those companies. And another thing is that the cost. Okay, so maybe 5 to 6 years back, the cost was somewhat considerably high. But now, if you look at it, the cost is somewhat drastically reduced. So now we are able to get this solar PV based electricity almost 1/3. Okay, so if this is the case, so people also should be motivated and given the exposure. So this is what one of the important aspect of your club. Okay, so your club not only focus on the technical aspect to change the people mindset and to change the people mindset in around your location as well as in your city, so that maybe each one of you from different places, maybe each one of you act as an ambassador for changing this energy transition, so to build confidence on the public mindset and give the exposure to each and every public. So is your one important task of this club. Okay, so maybe the government is already taking the initiative, but as individual, so you can also have this kind of activity, so that you can encourage and motivate not only in your institution, but also in your place, in your village, and in your city. And now if you look at it, so how we can transit, like for example, petrol, diesel to electric vehicle. So we need electricity. At the same time, you know very well, so all your electric vehicles requires the batteries, okay? So that means the electrochemical storage. But now if you look at it, recently the central government, they have started the hydrogen forum, which is focusing towards generating chemical storage system. So chemical storage means storage is hydrogen, and the hydrogen can be used as a fuel. And from the hydrogen, you can generate the electricity, and the byproduct is the water, okay? And now if you look at it, so this is going to attract much more than the battery, because the battery also, they are doubt like this could be the waste, okay? So this is also part of e-waste. And as of now, there is no mature technology to recycle this e-waste, okay? And this is going to be the huge challenge. So maybe you can think of how you can carefully do this recycling for these batteries, or how you can keep away from the soil, because this is going to damage the soil, okay? And so how you can think of some alternatives. So as a part of this club, maybe you can organize some event or project competition to the students, how effectively you can recycle the batteries, or that means the waste, okay, e-waste, how you can handle this e-waste. So maybe this aspects you can think of, and you can conduct some activities in your club. And next, if you think about it, so the focus is towards the EV. So what's happening is the focus is towards battery and battery charge, okay? So you can think of, so how this battery is going to affect, and cost, and how far the batteries could be replaced, okay, swapped. So how many times the battery can be reused. For example, your smartphone is there. So your smartphone you are charging and using, okay, maybe maximum one day it is coming nowadays, because of the lot of applications and its features, okay? Then think about the electric vehicle. So how long a single battery can withstand, okay, how many kilometers it will come. So all those analysis you can do it. And also you can think of as an electrical engineer. So you are not students now, you are engineer. So how you can think about after your bachelor degree, okay, so many of you may try for the job, okay, but instead of job, why not you become an entrepreneur, so that you can start your own company. So how you can do this? Because you are in a very good place, and especially in the northern India, and how you can think of setting up of charging stations, okay? So for charging stations, so you can organize some events among the students to expose them, like what is a charging station, and what are the things required for setting up, what is the cost involved, and what is the revenue you will get, that means the return of investment, and how you can generate the electricity for your charging station. Is it from your electricity board? No. You should have your own solar PV or wind power plant that should provide the electricity to your charging station. So these are the things you can discuss in your club and motivate your young engineers to focus on entrepreneurship also. So this is one kind. And if you look at it, towards the renewable energy resource. So the focus is towards renewable energy. So how you can focus on renewable energy. So it's nothing but now if you look at it, as I already told, the Paris Agreement, recently the United States have joined after the Biden government. So what is they focusing on, the Paris government, or you can call it as a COP21? Energy consumption will double in next to 40 years. And at the same time, you have to reduce the CO2 emission by half, okay? If you want to do both, okay, then how your electrical systems should be 4 times more energy efficient. So that's what I said. The world is not focusing on renewable, not only CO2 emission, but also the energy efficiency. Okay, so that's the reason you might be knowing recent days. So earlier we used the fluorescent lamp, then they shifted to CFL, compact fluorescent lamp, then they shifted to LED lamp. Okay, so to show that less energy consumption as well as more energy efficient. Okay, and your air conditioning systems also, and your refrigeration system. If you take the heaters, so nowadays you can see the star ratings. Okay, so why the star rating? So it shows how much your electrical equipments are energy efficient. So as energy club, so what you can focus in your club is, so you can start doing this analysis in everyone of you in your home or in your neighborhood. So what is the energy consumption? So what is the star rating of the electrical equipment you are using? So if more the star rating, the less the energy consumption. So you can do this analysis, and you can really give exposure to the public or to your fellow students, how you can save the electricity and reduce the electricity consumption by switching over to more energy efficient electrical equipments like LED lamp, or higher 5-star rated or electrical equipments, air compressors, or you can take a refrigeration system, heaters, etc. Okay, so this you can give exposure to the public as well as your fellow students. Why? Because if you look at it, so whatever we have seen is not a drastic change. So we are going to see the drastic change from 2020 onwards. It's already started. Okay, it started with the COVID-19. And now if you look at it, so they predicted by 2030 and 2040, so it is going to be the huge and drastic change within next 10 years and 20 years. You are going to see the flying cars, you are going to see the people going to the Mars, and you are going to see the moving satellite in the skies, okay, which is giving the internet facility to your mobile phones and the laptops. So these are the drastic changes is going to happen. And at the same time, if you look at our energy infrastructure, so we need to focus on drastic change, because the investment is not that much. Okay, so if you look at countries like India, in the developing countries, so the percentage of budget allotted for the infrastructure investment should be doubled. Then only we can meet this expectation. Okay, so the budget should be doubled, and our focus should be also on this particular infrastructure investment. And if you look at it, if this is the case, so definitely we can achieve whatever we are planning for the energy transition. Okay, and if you look at it, so what is the role, okay, of a customer as a university or as an institution? What is your role? As a military, what is their role? As a city or community, what is your role? As a public, what is your role? As a commercial establishment, what is your role? Okay, so all the roles we should define, so that we should take the ownership of doing this. We should not expect the government will do all the things. Okay, so each and every one of us, we should take the role and leadership to achieve this transition smoothly. Okay. So while doing so, in the coming years, if you look at it, so there is expected that you are going to see a drastic change in the real estate market as well, because nowadays the real estate market, they are focusing on the very posh apartments and individual bungalows and independent buildings. Okay, but in the future, if you look at it for the next 5 to 10 years, the real estate market will drastically shift. How? Because it will focus on how you can make more energy efficient houses and buildings. Okay, You call it as smart home or smart building or something like that, okay? And this is another concept called net zero energy building. So that is also the focus on the coming years. So what is meant by net zero energy building? This building will generate its electricity on its own. So it won't have the electricity lines from the grid, okay? So it generates its own electricity, and it has the natural ventilation, and it will generate its that means heating and ventilation on its own. It has its own energy storage, okay? And it has the construction which will accept the natural light inside the house. So likewise, floor heating system is not available in our country as of now, but in most of the Western countries it is available. Maybe the locations like Siliguri or the northern region. So maybe in the coming years, it may require this kind of floor heating systems. It is nothing but you provide your heating inside your house by using this floor heating systems, okay, during the winter time. And not only that, recently the IITs, they have come forward to have a DC grid, especially IIT Madras, and they have introduced this system, and they provided this DC grid to their neighborhood as well. Okay, so what is meant by DC grid? This is also the focus towards the transition from AC to DC. If you look at it, so earlier, okay, I mean 1900s, so initially they started with the DC only, because most of the electrical equipments were in AC, so they have shifted to AC electrical grid. But now again, it is going to be reverse, okay, in the coming years, because of the renewable, because of the solar, wind, and because of battery energy storage, and because of the electric vehicle also, because electric vehicle, it has the battery, and the battery is a DC, okay? So you need to charge this electric vehicle batteries as well. So if this is the scenario, so it is going to be more DC grid and DC homes in the coming years. In fact, if you look at the location of your institution, it is also one of the prime locations, so where you can have a more opportunity for a DC grid rather than the AC grid, okay? And if you look at it, based on this, most of the companies like Philips or LG, or you take any electrical companies, so they already started manufacturing DC electrical equipments, okay? That means the refrigerator, lights, etc. Okay, so gradually, if you look at it, so it's going to change, okay, the entire home as a DC home. Because of this, what will happen? The amount of energy waste as well as the efficiency will be much more, okay, if you go with the DC grid. Another thing is that now recently there is a huge transition from the technology side as well, like big data, artificial intelligence. And if you look at it, cyber security, okay, so more and more the technology is coming into picture. And if you look at IoT, it is playing a huge role in the electrical systems in the coming years. So the builders are the constructors in the real estate sector. So in the coming years, okay, they will focus on this as well. Okay, so that means smart home automation systems. For example, from your office itself, you can operate your washing machine, or you can control the electrical equipments, the electrical oven, etc. Okay, so it's possible in the coming years with the help of the technology. So the technology also will help to achieve this energy transition, okay? And you will be able to see in your mobile how much energy you are consuming, how much you are going to pay in the coming months, okay? So all these things will happen in the coming years. Not only that, your office buildings as well as the factories, if you look at it, so it will be connected with the technology. And if you look at it, so even though you have renewable based electricity, but how effectively you can manage this enterprise as efficient, okay? For example, power management, building management, okay? process managements, all these things will happen. Even if you look at the software companies now, their focus is also towards this, and they're coming for the campus interview, and they're distributing the selected students in these particular domains. Okay, recently one of the survey has mentioned this. Okay, and not only that, the focus is also towards this, how you can charge the electric vehicle in the coming years. Because if you buy electric vehicle, you need to charge in your home, okay, either, or you need to charge your electric vehicle in your office or in your institution, or if you're going to a shopping mall, there you should have the provision to charge your electric vehicle, or if you're going to supermarket, or if you're going from Siliguri to West Bengal, that means the Kolkata, means on the way you may need to charge. So there are a lot of scenarios are there. Okay, so how you are going to achieve? Okay, and not only the government but also the public as well as the private sectors as well as the public. Okay, that means the individuals. Okay, how we are going to shift towards this change? So that is a huge challenge. Okay, and not only that. So our focus is also on this building infrastructure, because you need to have your EV, the electric vehicle, to be charged in your home. So for that, your home should have the renewable energy. Okay, your home should have very good energy efficient electrical equipments, because you need to manage the electricity consumption. Okay, so this low energy system devices as well as utilization of renewable energy source, and along with that passive energy saving technologies. Okay, that means high performance window, then natural lighting, okay, natural ventilation, then building integrated photovoltaic systems. Okay, so all these things will come in the coming years. Okay. So these are the technologies. So if you want your building with renewable based technologies, either there are two options. One is active and another one is passive. Active means you can get the help from the renewable energy or the backup system like fuel, energy storage, battery, etc. Then if you look at the passive system, so the building itself, you need to design in such a way that it should have the very good envelope design, heat storage system, and lighting design. Then it should allow the natural lighting, natural ventilation, and it should have the building integrated photovoltaic as well. So recently, if you look at it, so instead of roof, now they are going with the PV based roof. Okay, so that it will serve for dual purpose. One is the roof, another one is it can generate the electricity. Okay. And these are the objectives and the focus towards this energy transition. Okay. If you look at the past, so we were thinking of how we can save our environment. Okay. And later on, they moved the focus to efficiency and like building certification systems. Okay, like green building or LEED certification. Then later they moved towards smart and green building. Okay. So now if you look at what we are focusing is how we can incorporate or integrate the renewable energy in our building. Okay. So that in the future, if we buy the electric vehicle, so we should have the provision to charge our electric vehicle. Okay. And so what is the focus on the next 10 years is net zero energy building. How you can generate the electricity from on your own. Okay. Then carbon neutral building and micro district, eco district, or you can say smart village, smart community villages, smart cities, etc. Okay, this is going to be the future. So in that aspect, if you look at it, the focus is toward this sustainable development goals. Okay, so that's the reason why the United Nations, they have incorporated this sustainable development goal to achieve this. Maybe your club also, you can focus on this sustainable development goal, especially Sustainable Development Goal 7, carbon neutral affordable energy, and Sustainable Goal 11, sustainable and green practices for better living in the cities. Then Sustainable Goal 12, recycling, reusing, and waste management. So your focus, maybe you can divide a group in your club so that various groups work on these various goals. Then Sustainable Goal 13 is focusing on to mitigate the climate change. Okay, these are the very important things which shoots your club. And if you look at it, so this transition will happen in multiple ways. One is decentralized power plants. Another one is rooftop PVs and parquet structures. Okay, either big power plant or small power plants in the home or office building or in your shopping malls and the commercial buildings. Okay, so how this will happen? For example, this is one of the picture from Dubai. You know very well, Dubai is coming under the United Arab Emirates, and so they are mainly depending on the oil. So you imagine, so they themselves, they're shifting towards this renewable energy. You see one big city in Dubai, they constructed as a smart city, and in that there is no vehicle at all, no petrol diesel vehicle at all. Okay, so they are not permitting to use the petrol and diesel vehicle. So you are permitted to use only the battery-based vehicles as well as bicycles. Okay, and you see in the building rooftop, you can see the solar. Okay, and it has the natural ventilation, and it has the more greeneries coming in the coming years, and the building will generate its own electricity. Okay, so this is kind of smart city. Okay, so this kind of smart city really we are expecting in India. Okay, so as of now, in the smart city project in India, so they focused on only the development of the city, not in terms of energy generation. Okay, so they focused on how they serve the people better, and they focused on the traffic regulation. They focused on the clean and green environment, like waste collection. Okay, but they didn't focus on how the city can generate its electricity on its own, how the city will manage the waste. Okay, so all those things should be focused in India. And this is another one, you know, Saudi. So Saudi is having a share of more than 50% of its oil, okay, throughout the world. But Saudi itself, if you see that, they are also shifting towards this green energy, and they are going to construct a smart city. And that smart city, if you look at it, the same as Dubai, and they already planned, like there is no petrol or diesel vehicles inside that smart city, and people are not permitted to use. And it is having only the renewable based electricity, and it uses all the technologies like IoT, artificial intelligence. So it's like complete of a movie what you watch in the Hollywood movies. Okay, so like that they're planning. This is going to be the real smart city projects. Okay, like the one here and like the one here. Okay, this is what we are expecting from the Indian scenario also. Okay, so in order to achieve this, so we need to focus on our growing electricity demand, because more electric vehicle, more demand. At the same time, you need to focus on how to reduce the CO2 emissions. So it will not happen automatically, right? Because recently in the COVID-19, they said, oh, carbon dioxide reduced drastically, very good, etc. like that. But now you have come back to the normal life. Now, if you look at it, so everybody started using the vehicles and buses, transportation, so etc. So now the CO2 emission, again, it might have increased. Okay, so the focus should be on how to reduce the CO2 emission rather than a temporary solution. Okay, and constraints on the existing electricity networks. Yes, so we need to improvise a lot in terms of electricity network. So who is going to help? As an individual, you are going to help. And as a government, government also should support. The technology providers, all the public and private companies also, they should support. This is what the idea. And only if everything is in place, then only you can achieve it. Okay, so this is possible. So as of now, if you look at it, so the energy transition, energy is from the centralized power generation unit, and it is transmitted to the distribution, and it is distributed to the public. Okay, that means the consumers. So now the focus is towards renewable energy plant, the power plants, as well as the distribution side renewable plants, as well as your rooftop renewable plants in your office or in your house, okay, residential applications. So now you can make the consumer very active, okay, with the help of the technologies. And if you look at it, because it's not from the long distance, so there is a saving in considerable energy. So there is no considerable loss, okay, because you have your own power plants, okay, especially in the distribution as well as in the consumer side. Now you have a better option to charge your electric vehicle. So this is possible now, okay. So now you can claim that, oh yes, now we are having a clean energy generation as well as less emission, okay. And this is only possible with the help of the communication as well as the IT-based technologies like IoT, artificial intelligence, big data, etc. Okay, so all those things will contribute towards this smooth energy transition from conventional to this new smart grid or distribution grid. Okay, so only this is the solution, and that means you need to give exposure to each and every person, like those who are producing the electricity or generating the power, they should be exposed, given the exposure. Then distributors, okay, should be given the exposure. Consumer, as a we are the consumer, we should be exposed a lot, okay, towards this. Okay, so only then, if you have an efficient home with the provision for charging your EV or efficient building, industry with a EV charging facility, then your distribution side is very flexible and smart generation. That means by using the renewable with the digital substation, okay, digital substation. So now everybody is shifting towards the digital. So recently they have talked about digital India, etc. Okay, so the substation also should become digital. Then only you can easily control over it, okay, by using the big data analytics. Then your demand response will be very good, and all these things together will help to achieve a smart grid. Okay, so this is nothing but the transition should be taken place very smoothly as well as at the fast rate, okay, in the coming 5 to 10 years. Okay, so only then you can say that you achieved a smooth energy transition as per the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, as also as per the needs of the country. Okay, and this is going to be achieved with the help of the various sectors. Okay, generation, transmission, and distribution with the help of the technologies like energy storage. Okay, so the energy storage is also which will be helping in the coming years. So this is the one of the view of the smart city. You can look at it, which is going to be established in the Dubai as well as in Saudi. So this is what we are also expecting from India. Okay, so very good grid stabilization, local grid control. You have storage, energy storage integration, renewable integration. You have a very good load management, and you should have a remote diagnostics by using the technologies. At the same time, you can monitor the status, and you should have a proper reservation from that means the power reservation or energy reservation, and the billing and the applications, etc. So you look at this, you have your home, you have public parking stations. You have an office. Okay, you can see the office. So all they have this charging. Okay. At the same time, if you look at it, so you should have this wind and solar. That means green energy generation also should be there. And through this green energy generation, you should be able to charge your electric vehicles in all the places. And now look at this. This is going to be ultimately the smart city, not the one. Without this, okay, you cannot claim. Without these things, you cannot claim smart city. Okay. And with this note, I would like to thank your institution for giving the opportunity to discuss during this inauguration of this Green Club. And I hope so almost all of you might have understood what is the need for this global energy transition towards this green energy. And in the coming years, okay, if you look at it, so how our city should be, okay. With this note, and I would like to thank each and everyone. And so I'm just quickly showing what are the topics you can work, okay, in your club. This is the topic for energy storage, hydrogen energy storage by using renewable. AI, big data, and IoT, how it is playing a role on renewable. How this IoT, blockchain, all these technologies will help in getting this global energy transition towards the green. With this note, we are also working towards this sustainable development goals. So we are organizing one conference as well. So I welcome all the students as well as faculty and researchers to submit your work and paper on this. So we are charging a very less registration fees, and we are publishing in the Scopus. Also, I'm one of the guest editor in the energies. So it's really matches your today's topic, sustainable energy transition, utilization and management. So I'm focusing on this SDG 7. So we are also welcome the researchers. With this note, I would like to really thank the principal and the management as well as various students as well as organizations of this club. And as well as the faculty members and the other students. Thank you so much. So I'm really welcome if you have any interaction.
Students and faculty, if you have any queries, you can post it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask your questions to the resource person directly. There is no question. We'll move on to the next session. I request moderator to invite the next presenter.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful and informative session. I'm sure that everyone out here have been benefited and is definitely going to help us in the coming future. And our club will definitely implement the suggestions that you have given to us. So now moving to the next, the introduction regarding the Green Energy Club will be delivered by Mrs. Hira, Sharma, General Secretary, and Mr. Nihal, Chatri, Vice President of the Green Energy Club. Over to you, Hira and Nihal. Are you there, Nihal?
Okay, sure, I'm going to start the session. Okay, just a minute.
Nihal, excuse me. Nihal,
Yes, yes, yes.
can you make me host so that I can share my screen?
Actually, I didn't get you. Can you repeat once? Yeah?
Can you share your screen, Nihal?
Just a minute.
Principal sir, you can make co-host through Hira Sharma.
Who?
Hira Sharma. Hira Sharma. You can make her co-host.
Just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah, I will make her. Now she is the co-host now. Now she can able to share the screen.
Hira, you can share your screen now.
Professor, I have another meeting. So with this note, I really congratulate everyone of this club. And so I'm leaving from this session. So
Yeah.
I congratulate everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Umashankar. Thank you so much.
See you, professors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Nihal. Excuse me, sir.
You can share the PDF.
So where can I get this? So where can I get this?
See, in your screen, you have a share screen option, no? Green color tab.
Oh, yes, sir, I got it.
Just to click it, you will get the your desktop window to share your PPT. Now select the file.
A very good morning to one and all present out here. Respected Chief Guest, Principal Sir, other teacher staffs, and my dear friends. Today on the behalf of our group member, me and Nihal Chatri, we are going to give a small presentation on Green Energy Club. Firstly, I would like to introduce my group members. Avinam Baraili, 7th semester president, Nihal Chatri, 5th semester vice president, Hira Devi Sharma, myself, 5th semester secretary, Rajesh Rana, 3rd semester joint secretary, Sachin Chatri, 3rd semester treasurer, and our faculty in charge is Mr. Somedipta Munsi. Going forward, I would like to start with introduction. Actually, what is green energy? Green energy is any energy type that is generated from natural resources such as sunlight, wind or water. It often comes from renewable energies. As a source of green energy, energy often come from renewable energy such as solar energy, wind power, geothermal energy, biomass, and hydropower. It exists perpetually and in abundant in an environment. Actually, in order to demand green energy, a resource cannot produce pollution. such as is found with fossil fuel. This means that not all sources used by the renewable energy industries are green. For some example, power generation that burns organic material from sustainable forest may cause renewable energy. Going forward, you can see that what is the contribution of renewable energy source in world electricity production, accounted for more than half of all global capacity addition since 2012. In 2017, newly installed renewable power capacity in the world achieved a new record of 167 gigawatt. Here you can see the conventional energy source, renewable energy source in this graph. Here we are going to introduce different kind of renewable energy sources. Those are hydro energy, wind energy, solar energy, biomass energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy, wave energy, biofuel and biogas energy. Going forward with wind energy. Particularly suited for offshore and highly altitude site, wind energy uses the power of the flow of air around the world to push turbines that then generate electricity. Differential heating of energy, earth surface and atmosphere induce vertical and horizontal air current obtain its power input by converting the force of the wind into the torque, acting it to rotate on blade. The amount of energy which the wind transfers to the rotor depends on density of air, the rotor air area, and the wind speed. Going forward with solar energy, this common renewable green energy source is usually produced using photovoltaic cell that captures sunlight and turn into electricity. Solar power is also used to heat buildings and for hot water as well as for cooking and lighting. Solar power has now become affordable enough to be used for domestic purposes, including garden lighting, although it is also used on large scale to power entering neighborhood. Solar power is by far the Earth's most available energy source, easily capable of providing many times that total current energy demand. Solar power is the conversion of solar energy into electrical energy. Two main commercial way of conversion of sunlight into electricity are CSP and PV. Going forward with geothermal energy, this type of green power uses thermal energy that has been stored just under the Earth's crust. While this resource requires drilling to access, thereby calling the environment impact into question, it is a huge resource one tapped in. Geothermal energy has been used for bathing in the hot spring for thousands of years, and this same resource can be used for steam to turn turbine and generate electricity. The energy stored under the United States alone is enough to produce 10 times as much as electricity as coal currently can. Now I would like Mr. Nihal to go forward with this presentation.
Sure, you just keep sharing. I'll next meeting from here. Okay, Hira?
Yes, okay, I'll share. You can.
Okay. We will move on to the next slide from hydropower. So the next method of power electricity generation is a very popular one. It's a very popular one among us. It's hydropower. As we all know, a generator is fitted on a dam in which the shaft of the generator is rotated by the water force, and thus electricity is produced. And in this graph, we have on top hydroelectric generating countries, in which India is at, I guess, 9th place, and which is topped by Canada, United States, and former USSR. Moving on to the next slide. Next slide. Hira. Okay. Next is the importance of is a very important aspect of today's presentation. That is the importance of the green energy. So first point, green energy is important for environment as it replaces the negative effects of fossil fuels with more environmental friendly alternatives. As we all know, fossil fuels have many negative effects on our environment, and thus green energy it can be used to like substitute those effects by its use. So next we have, even when the full cycle of green energy source is taken into consideration, they release far less greenhouse gases than fossil fuels. Like as we all know, greenhouse gases, with the release of greenhouse gas, the temperature of our atmosphere is increased, and thus as a result, it will lead to global warming, which results in many environmental hazards. So this can be stopped by use of green energy. Green energy can also lead to stable energy prices as these sources are often locally made. Green energy has also less price as compared to fossil fuels. Okay, these are the advantages of green energy as compared to fossil fuels. Next one. Next slide. Okay, this is a graph which denotes the right. Okay, next is likely climate change impacts. Firstly, we have health impacts. We have infectious diseases which comes as a result of climate change, and then we have agricultural impacts where the crop yields are decreased significantly with increasing temperature, lower temperature. Next, we have forest impacts where the forests are drying up. As a result, they catch fires, and thus the productivity is reduced. And then we have water impacts where the sources of water are dried up because of the change in the climate. And then we have impacts on sea and coastal areas where the melting of ice on the polar regions, the level of the sea level rises, and thus as a result, the islands and low-lying areas are flooded and are submerged underwater. And then we have special losses. In special losses, we have loss of habitats of animals. For example, polar bears. Like polar bears live in the icy areas of polar regions, but due to the melting of ice, their habitat is lost and they are at the verge of extinction. That's the best example of species extinction due to climate change. Next slide. Okay, this is the data of regional impacts of climate change in India. So we have Himalayan region where there is impact on horticulture crops, increased landslides, glacial bursts, and reduced snowfall, glacial retreat. And we have coastal regions where sea level rise, induced out migration, submergence of cities, and damaged infrastructure. And then we have arid regions of Rajasthan and Western Gujarat where there is desertification and stressed grasslands, damaged animal health. And then moving on to the next slide. Next slide. We have semi-arid regions of Punjab, Haryana, and West Central Madhya Pradesh where impacts are increased variability of rainfall and animal alternate droughts and floods, loss of agricultural yield, etc. We have central forests of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, where forests drying up leads to forest fires, etc. We have Gangetic plains of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and West Bengal, where there is loss of agricultural yield and initial increase in river runoff, followed by reduction in perennial river flow. Moving on to the next slide. Next slide. We have Northeast, where changes in rainfall pattern is also where Brahmaputra flows will be affected due to glacier and snow melt changes. And we have Eastern and Western Ghats of peninsular states where forest fires which affect the catchment characteristics. We have islands of Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar's where there is sea level rise impacts. Moving on to the next slide. We have the scope for engineers in renewable energy. Firstly, we have a job contractor or electrician is the best, easiest way to get involved in green energy. Then we have being an engineer. Being an engineer can help design different gadgets which are used in green energy plant, for example, wind turbines and solar panels, etc. We have sustainable farming, where the industries mostly rely on biofuels to fill the energy gaps which are needed for the work to be done, and bioengineers can be using that. And we have environmental consultant, where they help company to become more environmental friendly. And at last, we have a conclusion where we have that green energy looks to be said to be a part of the future world, offering a cleaner alternative to many of today's energy sources. Readily replenished, these energy sources are not just good for environment, but also leading to job creation and look set to be economically viable as developments continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nihal and Hira. We appreciate your hard work for the club. Request every participant to turn on their video for the virtual photograph, which will be taken by the principal, sir. Over to you, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Capture.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, at last, I would like to invite Mr. Sumedipta Munshi, sir, the Assistant Professor of the Electrical Engineering, to give the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to you all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I am Sumedipta Munshi, Assistant Professor, Electrical Engineering Department, and I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this occasion. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's occasion a resounding success. First and foremost, I thank our special guest, Dr. Umashankar sir, who despite his busy schedule has found time to grace this occasion and enlightening us with his knowledge. And I also express my heartfelt thanks to our chairman sir and director ma'am. I thank our principal, Dr. Nagarajan sir, for his unstinted support for this function. My heartfelt thanks to our HOD, Mr. Shubhadeep Shah sir, for his valuable guidance for these programs. I also thank all the members of the Green Energy Club for their hard work towards the success of the program. Last but not the least, I thank you all for your cooperation in making this function a resounding success. Finally, I leave you the inspiring quote by Martin Luther King: "An individual has not started living until he rises above the confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concern of all humanity." Once again, I thank you all for your attention. Thank you very much to all of you.
Attendance link is posted in the chat box. All are requested to submit your attendance. After you submit attendance, you can leave the room. The room will be closed by another 5 minutes time. Thank you.